Rachel. Thank you for the super hearts. Happy Monday to everyone. It's been kind of a slow day for me, and that is okay. I did manage to get some work done, and then took my mom to the grocery store and the Dollar Tree. And now I am heading home to work. And just thought I would pop in and talk about I have a question, and it's a rhetorical question. It doesn't require an answer. At least not, you don't need to answer me. The question that I have is, oh my goodness, big dog. Holy cow. There's a big cute dog. What is your central focus? What are you focusing on? What has the most of your attention? So many times we go through our lives and we don't even realize that God is not the center. He's not our central focus. And you know, so many other things get our attention. And some of the things aren't horrible. You know, they're not bad things. It's not, you know, it's not stuff that's going to make you lose your salvation or anything. You know what I mean? Or it's not sin. Except that you're giving it more attention than you're giving it God, so it's become an idol. And before anybody rears their back and starts justifying themselves or saying things, well, no one's perfect. Nope, nobody is. Nobody's perfect. However, we have a decision. We have a choice. We have a choice of what we give our attention to. Family can become an idol. TV can become an idol. Best friends can become an idol. Social media can become an idol. The church can become an idol. And now you can sit here and double take and be like, wait a minute. You know, church is God's work. You are exactly right. Church is God's work. However, if God's work comes before God Himself and your relationship with Him, it's no bueno. It's no bueno. We need to make sure that the majority of our attention is focused on Jesus and Him crucified. And if we don't, then we're in sin. Point blank. The Bible says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Anything that you give more attention to than God becomes your God. And so that is the question. Who or what is your central focus? You know, here's the thing, and I've used this excuse before, so I'm talking to myself. So don't even think that I'm excusing myself out of this, because I certainly am not. But it's time out for us saying, well, nobody's perfect. Well, we're gonna mess up. We're gonna make... Really? That's an excuse. That's a lie that the enemy tells. That's a lie that the enemy tries to get us to believe that it's acceptable because nobody is perfect. So we can have other gods before us, and we can cuss, and we can lie and cheat and steal, and we can do all these things and have sex before marriage and cheat on our husbands or wives or whatever because, oh, nobody's perfect. So because people do make mistakes does not give you the right or the reason to make mistakes, to consciously sin. Yes, nobody's perfect, but that is not your license to act up or to, you know, that doesn't make what you do any less of a sin. So whether it's you're putting your family before God, or you're putting your ministry work before God, or you're putting your friends before God, or you're putting your TV before God, or your car, or whatever it is, you know, TV is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you're watching what you're watching. I mean, you're being careful what you're watching. Church work is not a bad thing. Family is not a bad thing. Friends are not a bad thing. But when those take the place of God, that's where you run into trouble. Because one, if you are spending more time watching TV, spending time with your friends and your family, and you're leaving little time for God, it leaves a space where where the enemy can get his foot in. It leaves a space where the enemy can just come in and wreak havoc. And you wonder why you're struggling. You wonder why you're tired. You wonder why you're having a problem living right for God. It's because you're not spending enough time with Him. You wonder why you're popping off at people and losing your temper. Well, if you're not allowing God to be part of your everyday life, if you're not giving Him sole control over you, if you're not relinquishing your hurts and your pain and everything like that to Him, well, then it's no wonder. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And you shouldn't be surprised either. You shouldn't be surprised. Because the only way that God is going to have any type of say in your marriage, in your life, in your family, in your relationships, in your workplace, in your home, is if you give Him the most of your attention. So, it's a question I can't answer for you. I can't answer that question for you. I can only answer that question for me. And I don't want you to answer me on here. I don't want you to put your business out there on Front Street. That's not how I roll. You know, you answer that question. And if that question is that something else has your attention more than God does, then you need to make a change. Then you need to make a shift. Then you need to stop. Stop spending so much time, stop giving other things and other people more attention than what you give to God. That's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. And so we are the only ones that can answer that question, and we are the only ones that can change it. And so I just want to encourage you guys today that if you're tired, if you're having issues living your life for God, if you're struggling, now the Bible does say in this world you will have trouble. But if you are continually struggling with the same things over and over again, and you're continually having a hard time keeping your cool, or, living your life the way that God is asking you to live, think about what you're thinking about. Think about what has your attention and change it. It's in our power to do. It is in our power to do. And so I just want to encourage you. I want you to know that this word is from the Lord, and if it hits right with you, then you are responsible now to correct that. If you are fine and most of your attention is on God, then more power to you. Say a prayer for me, because I need to work on that area. Just saying. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I can't use that as an excuse to not focus the majority of my attention on God. It doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. And so the excuses that I've used up until now, they don't cut it. So, I love you guys. I hope that this blessed somebody. I hope somebody got something out of this. I hope that this kicked somebody in the butt, just like it kicked me in the butt. And that we can make a decision to move on with God and to do what God's called us to do and be who He's called us to be. And not have things in the way of what God wants to do in our lives. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.